Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat, and I have bags. We're going to make something out of bags. But first I want to show you guys, I went ahead and sewed the signature into this journal, and I didn't torture you guys with watching me. And I will link a video where I use my book cradle to sew in a signature, but I use my book cradle. So if you're looking for a book cradle, I have them in my Etsy shop, and I'll leave a link in the description box below along with a video. So if you're not sure how they're used, if you're new, you can see how they're used. So what else I've done is this journaling card. This was a piece of collaged masterboard that I just cut out. It was actually already cut out. I was going to make a journaling card out of it previously, and I never finished it. So I added the lady in the rose and a little gesso and a doily and this Tim Holtz stamped piece, some lace, the portrait, one of the portrait ladies, and so that just goes in that pocket. And I added this lace onto the bottom all the way across so that it's a pocket all the way across, like the last one that I did. So we have that, and then I added a piece of avocado dyed paper in here too, and I'm not going to take it all the way out, but there's a little piece of paper in there to write on. I might cut that down a little bit so that it fits in and out easier. We have these that we did last time. Oh, I did this little pocket. This is Tim Holtz paper, and I'll show you how I did this today. So it's just a small little pocket, and then I just did a thumb notch and added it onto another piece of paper, and then there's just a couple tags tucked in here, and that's all Tim Holtz paper except for there's some, collaging and whatever. And then I slipped in one of the little notebooks that we did with the doily, and we need to work on those. Oh, I added this flip that I made a while back. It was in my stash. So yeah, so this journal is spoken for, so it isn't available anymore, but at least you can use some of the ideas or whatever if you like. And this pocket will go in there, and I made this pocket out of HelloFresh bag. We started getting HelloFresh just to try it out. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but anyway, I made a little pocket using a piece of the bag, and it makes a nice little pocket, and it feels really good. It's got a little gesso on it, and so I'll show you guys how I did that one as well as the other one I did. I'll just be using this paper instead of the Tim Holtz paper. So that's what we're doing. So maybe we'll do the other one first so I don't forget. So how you all doing? I hope you're having a good day. I am having a good day. I still am, I got a little coughing and whatever, but I mean, I'm doing great compared to what I was. Actually, I think I'll use scissors for this part, just because it's a little tricky to get it off of the bag itself. I just like the weight of these bags, but you could use any kind of packing paper. You could use that newsprint packing paper would work. I mean, you can just use regular paper too, like copy paper or whatever. You don't have to use packaging. It's just kind of a nice way to use up some of this stuff if you have it around, which I did. So I wanted to use it up. I'll cut this one instead of tearing it, just because I think I might use my cutter because I can't cut very straight. Sorry, under different directions there. I'm just going to cut this as straight as I possibly can. Without making too much noise. And I'm just going to make one a different size than that original one I did. That one was kind of tiny because I was using the Tim Holtz, the little end papers, that are small. This is the only thing that moves around when you're cutting it because it's kind of wobbly. So yeah, I hope you guys are all doing good. Hope you had a nice weekend. Okay, I need to look at that again because I can't totally remember exactly how I did it because I just was playing around with paper, you know how you do. And okay, yeah, it's real easy. And I'll probably fold this more than I folded the Tim Holtz paper because the Tim Holtz paper is thicker. So basically all I did is a fold up, and like I said, you can make them any size you want. And on this one, because it's this thin paper, I'm going to do a fold down as well, just to strengthen that little lip, you know. And I think I'll probably mostly just make these and then decorate them, you know, at a different time, because I just want to show you guys some ideas to do with packaging paper, paper bags, whatever. So yeah, just fold that up and fold that down. And obviously, like I said, this one's a lot bigger than this little tiny one, but you could make a tiny one out of the packaging paper and it would work just fine. And then you can see it's kind of like a library pocket. So I'm gonna fold it not all the way down, even with this bottom pocket. I'm leaving a portion up here as a pocket as well. Okay, and you don't have to double it if you don't want to. You could make these out of book pages as well, would be another good option. I cleaned off my table, so now where did I put my glue? Look. Yeah, but you could definitely use like book pages if you don't have any packing paper, or like I said, just regular copy paper would work. Whatever you've got, wrapping paper. I'm trying to help people think of ideas if they want to get kind of into the journaling thing, but they don't want to buy a bunch of stuff because, you know, it is, obviously we've got crazy gas prices and we've got all kinds of stuff going on. So use up some stuff that you have laying around the house and it will work, because that's the awesome part about junk journaling, is you can pretty much make stuff out of anything, any type of packaging, boxes. Yeah, you just gotta play with it. Okay, and then that I just folded like that. We're gonna put a thumb notch. I figured out something that makes a really cool thumb notch, but I know it's kind of a bummer because not everybody has a whale tail punch, but sometimes I want something different than just the half circle or whatever, you know, because this made kind of a cool little notch. So I'm going to use that again, but of course use what you've got. But you might have a different punch that's like a tab of some kind, and you know, it might look really cool. So just try out some different stuff that you got in your house, because those of us that craft, I know if you have never crafted before and you want to make junk journals, you can also take like something and make a little half circle, even if you don't have a punch, and then just cut it out, like trace something, cut it out. It sort of punched this little bit weird right here. But yeah, just something different. I don't know. There, and then at the top I might go ahead and do that again, because I didn't do that with the Tim Holtz paper because I didn't want sorry, I'm trying to line this up right. Hopefully it's right. I didn't want to cut that much of the paper out. I liked the design that was at the top of this pocket. Up here, I didn't want to cut into the words too much, so I just did a little tiny notch on that one. Oops, I did that backwards. It doesn't matter. I'll deal with that later. Okay, so basically you have that. And you could just glue this right onto your journal page as well. You don't have to even do the next step if you don't want to, and it'll still work the same. I just added another piece and then it made another pocket. So you can stitch this. I'm just going to glue it for our purposes here. But these are simple ways to do like library pockets. You can, I mean, they're literally that simple. You're just making a bigger back flap than the front flap. And that's really all it is. And then you can also choose to round your corners or cut your corners with some other kind of punch. Knock my tape down when I get my punches out, but we'll round these. And that'll give it even more of a library pocket look. So there's that. And then we'll take another piece of our packing paper. And I want it a little bit wider. I'm going to cut it again just so that I have a little more control. Yeah, these HelloFresh bags are kind of a cool weight of paper. They're not as thick as like a grocery store paper bag. But you can also use the painter's masking paper. Would be good for this kind of thing as well. I'm going to cut that. So I ended up making this, how wide, in case you want one this width. This is about 4. So let's make this, I don't want to go, we'll go 5 with this. I'm going to cut this edge even first. As even as I can. So you can use, like I said, whatever type of paper you want. Okay. And then basically all I'm doing is making a background piece for that to set on. And like I said, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. You can just glue it onto your page. So see, it's going to sit on there like that, but we're going to cut it down a little bit more even. I thought 5 wouldn't be big enough, but it's plenty big enough. And if it's not totally square, you know, because you're cutting it off of a bag or whatever, just get it glued together and then you can square it up. Because, I mean, obviously it is a little tricky since it's different than like scrapbook paper or whatever. But this would be really cool with that newsprint paper, like sorry, I just pulled it out from under, or a bunch of stuff was sitting on top of it. But this newsprint packing paper, this one I gessoed, but you could do it with the plain piece or the gessoed piece, doesn't matter. Any kind of paper bag. You could make smaller ones using the smaller paper bags. If you have lunch bags, those would work. Even the top up. But you could, if you want more of that torn look, you could tear these. I mean, there's like a million things you could probably do that would be fun. So I think that'll be good. And then we'll cut it. How tall is this? So we'll go 4 3/4. Yeah, 4 3/4. See what we got. Yeah, I think that'll work. And you could make it even bigger if you wanted. What you doing, son?
Testing the internet.
Are you going to go take that test in?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to round them all. I'm actually going to turn it to the wrinkle side out there. Is it good or bad?
It's better.
So you can choose if you want this as a pocket that you're going to glue on 3 sides, or if you want to do it like a tuck like I did, where you just glue 2 sides and then have, you know, you can tuck whatever behind it. I probably, with one this size, would go for a pocket instead of a tuck, just because they get a little floppy when they're a bigger tuck. But yeah, this would be fun out of really any kind of paper, honestly. Just kind of a fun little pocket. You could gesso it, whatever. I'm trying to decide, I think I want to round those as well. That may open my pocket, so I might have to put a little glue down there, but we'll see. Nope. Okay, so that can go right on there and be a pocket. You could do it almost like a belly band if you wanted, but I think I want to do it as a pocket. These ones will probably go in my idea book, just so I've got them, since I already made one for this journal. Okay, so that's one pocket that we can do. And then I'll show you how I did the other one. The other one's really easy. I mean, I think this one was pretty easy too. And then you can choose if you want a thumb notch up there as well. You might, once you put it on a a pocket. Maybe I'll just do a littler version. Let's get lined up right on here. Okay, so there we have 3 pockets, and you just glue that right down onto your page. Alright, so the other one, I'm going to move my journal out of the way so I'm not banging into that. Oh, at first I thought my recorder wasn't working. I'm like, oh, seriously. Don't do that to me. So the other one was even easier. I literally had just torn a piece off of one of these bags and was like, huh, I'm going to try to make something out of it, and if I like it, I'll, you know, keep some of the other ones. Why did I put those away? And I might do this one more of a grungy style. Sorry, I know I'm right up the nose with that. In fact, maybe we'll just use this flat piece over here. And that one I tore, so I think I'll tear this down this side. Okay. It says recycle. I'm recycling. Okay. How wide was that one? It's about almost dead on, so we're just going to take a little bit off of this side over here as well. I mean, this pocket, it can't get any easier, and I'm sure you guys can already figure out how I did it, but we'll just do one together for the fun of it. Come on. That just does not want to get started ripping, does it? It's like I'm not doing it. I did not have this much trouble ripping that yesterday. Okay, we're just gonna just do this instead, since you're gonna be difficult. I think it's because there's another little piece back here. It's kind of like making it doubly thick. That was way more difficult than it needed to be. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of just rip the top. I guess the top doesn't matter because when you fold it down you can't see it, and you can't see this flap either, but I did rip it crooked. So I'll just do it again. Okay, so I just fold it up. However much or little. This one I folded a lot more. You can see the pockets like that big. But I'm just going to fold this down. I'll tear that a little more even. And I know there's stuff on here, but we can cover it with other things. And then this one, I just folded down. Basically the exact same thing, just in a different way. And this one we can bring up a little bit more. So this pocket, this must have been a longer piece that I used. But then you can gesso, and that would cover part of that up. You could, you know, just add papers to it. I like the wrinkles though, so I think I'm gonna let that go. We'll put a little gesso. And this is just Liquitex gesso. But you can use acrylic paint too in a color or white or whatever you want. I like the way the gesso feels on there. Okay, so see already now those words and stuff are gone. I'm just going to glue this flap down. Probably would have been smart to do that first, right? Yes, is the answer. I always do things a little backwards though. Put this one down too. And all the folding down does is just strengthen the bag a little bit because they are a little bit thin, and if you were using book page it would be the same thing. You could even glue 2 book pages together first and then just fold them, and you wouldn't have to worry about this part, however you want to do it. But it's just going to give it strength for slipping tags in and out, and then you don't have to worry about you know, the edges tearing or something, which the gesso is going to help with that too. So okay, and then when that's dry I can add a little ink to it, whatever. Let's glue up the sides. I'm gonna wait. Sorry, you guys are probably like, oh my gosh, lady. Yeah, I'm a dingling. I'm gonna wipe my fingers off. But there's that, and then we'll play with one of these other smaller brown paper bags over here and see what we can make. And I'm gonna use it more like paper. It's just I have a slew of those, and I'm always looking for things to do with them. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna play with some and figure it out. My husband brought these home from these wipes from the hospital because they expired. You know, they had them during COVID. They're just, you know, for you to wipe your hands all the time if you can't get to a sink or whatever. But anyways, so they can't use them. I'm like, well, I'll use them to wipe my fingers off or to wipe down my table or whatever. It's better than them going in the trash. So I'm gonna let this dry all the way. It's almost dry already, but we'll play with one of these while we're writing. And I was thinking, if you cut down the sides, these are just little ones. Let's see, let's measure this one. So this little bag is not quite 8 high by 4. So it's a tiny one, but you can use a regular lunch bag and do the same stuff. Whatever you have. I just have a whole bunch of these. I think we did some kind of popcorn thing for some fundraiser. I don't know. But anyway, I got a slew of these bags. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on the other side, which I know I'm taking away a lot of the width, and I'm gonna have to cut that a little more. But then we can turn it into something that we want. Did that work? It did work. Because there's so much extra, and that gusset isn't really necessary. Like, I don't know that I would ever use the whole gusset in these. It's just so thick. I mean, I know there's stuff that you can do with them, but I'm just trying something else. Sorry, the shaky hands make it real. Okay, so now I just have more of a long strip of paper here. And you can do a lot of kind of like what we already have done. Let's see what else we can do. So that could be a pocket, and then we could fold it up like again. So I'll show you in just a second. We're kind of like stair-stepping, right? The bag. So there's a pocket here and a pocket behind because we've just, this was the fold that was already in the bag for the bottom of the bag. And then I just, that fold was also there. And then I just added that one. So just a little bit higher than the height of the bag there is all that is. And we can square it up once we get okay, and then we can have that piece come around behind, and we could have one pocket here, one pocket here. We can fold this down a little bit because it's very, very thin. Glue it. And be able to have another pocket. This is real crooked. I'm just fixing these so they're a little straighter. They're a little wonky. Okay. So then this can come around, and we can actually fold this back to make it thicker. I'm just winging this, so I want it the same height. I don't want it shorter. So wait a second here. It's moving. I want it the same height, or at least as the other one, if not higher. Actually, it could go a little higher. Sorry, so that's the problem when you make stuff for the first time. You change your mind every 5 seconds, or at least I do. That way we'll use that whole strip of bag instead of just part of it, and we'll end up with a pocket here, a pocket here, a pocket here, and a pocket there. Alright, so let's glue this down. Excuse me. I'll tell you what the folds are. Okay, so I went ahead and wrote them down. I just figured that would be easier. So you're going to start at the top of the bag without the notch. So this would be like the back of the bag. This is the front of the bag. You're going to lay that down, and you're going to score it 3 7/8. Then come to 5 1/4. Then you have the bottom score of the bag that's naturally there because that's the little gusset. And then you're going to come to the second little, because that's the base of the bag. You're going to come to the second one, and you're going to score it 1 1/8, 2 1/2, 4, and 6. Okay, and that's going to give you your folds for this little bag. which gets all folded up like so. Okay. And then you're going to glue all that little stuff together. So I'm going to glue this back flap first. And I'm going to leave it open just a little bit over there. Okay, so that is glued. No, that doesn't work to leave that open, so never mind. Glue the whole thing, glue the whole back flap on. So this is the side that's going to get glued into your journal. And you're going to glue this flap closed. That's the one, the front flap with the little thumb notch. It's going to get glued like that. Speaking of thumb notches, we should probably put some thumb notches before we close that up, huh? Where's my... I'm just going to use my circle punch for this. I'll just punch it there. You know, if you're smart, you will bring them all together. You can. No, you can't. Never mind. I'm just going to wing it then. And hope they're close. Okay. So it's going to go like that. So you're going to glue along this side here. Along this bottom side. And these are going to be little shallow pockets, these front two especially. Bag closed right there. You could actually make that another like side tuck over there on the side if you wanted to. So I guess the moral of the story is just play with your paper and see what you can come up with, because you can come up with all kinds of crazy stuff. But anyway, we've got this pocket here, which is real shallow, another pocket here, pocket here, and then of course you'll have the back pocket, which we can do another thumb notch on. And we'll ink those. So we can see them. And you could even that up more. You know, you might want your pockets to be a little more even. I was just kind of going with the folds of the bag, but yeah, and I didn't do a very good job poking the holes either with the thumb notches, but you have a nice space there to decorate. Okay, so we have this style, which is this one. We have this style and this style. Let's play with this a little bit. All out of packaging. So that's pretty fun, I think. Let's go ahead and do a thumb notch. That one I could have lined those up a little bit, but let's go. Okay, and then this gets inked and it looks a whole lot better. But you could get the real grungy with these. Like, you could wrinkle up the bag a whole bunch first, and then with the torn edges, I think it looks pretty cool. And then I would definitely stitch this one. The other ones could be glued. I don't think they have to be stitched, but I just feel like this one looks better stitched. But if you don't stitch, then just glue it. I mean, it's going to stick together either way, right? This glue is going to make me crazy this summer. I usually don't have to fight with it near as much. And I've cleaned out the tip, but it still just won't cooperate. I'm wondering if some of my glue in there is gotten old because I just keep adding to it, you know? Which probably isn't the best plan. But yeah, from a paper bag, I'd say these are kind of fun. Or packaging, whatever, paper bag or packaging. You could make all kinds of them. Different ways, just play with it. So this one's a little weird, I understand, but I think, you know, you get the idea. If you played around with it, you could probably come up with something different. You could even use this one this direction, just have it like little tucks in there. But I'm always looking for ways to use these paper bags because they do pile up on you sometimes. Well, you know, you buy a bag of them, and if you don't have kids like taking lunch all the time, you use a couple of them, and then, you know, they just sit around. So it's kind of fun to make things out of them. And you can cut them all the way down and do these type of things with these same bags. You could do either one of those. So yeah, just have fun with it, play around with some paper bags, and we will chat again tomorrow. So I will talk to you guys later. Love you guys. Bye bye now.